Hey guys, this is Stacy Rossetti here, and I'm actually sitting in my brand new studio in my office in Jasper, Georgia, and I have my very first guest with me, and this is somebody that I've known for many, many years. And I'm super excited to introduce you guys to her. And you may already know her, Deonna Britt.
Yes.
And she is with Clerk on Demand. And she has been supporting the South Atlanta area for many years as a vendor. And I've seen her grow in her business over the last couple of years. And just really blossom over the last couple of years.
Thank you.
Yeah, really blossom. Yeah, so I'm pleased to introduce her, and we're going to get into some questions. We'll both be talking to each other, and then I hope you enjoy the segment. All right, so
Cool.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, it's been a blessing to be involved with South Atlanta RIA. It has been fantastic as a vendor, but I always say you've really stretched me to even become like an educator in the real estate space, right? Through like the groups and workshops. Like, it's been awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
But I thought this would be cool for us to just sit down, and I always get so much value when I listen to you. So like every webinar Stacey's doing, I don't care. I'm logging in if you go live because I always learn something from you, like always. So whether it's running my business or learning real estate, it's just value.
Okay.
So let's talk about, I guess, more of your story. Like, how did you get involved with real estate? Like, take me back to the beginning. Was this something since a child you wanted to do, or did you kind of get into it later?
So I've been investing in real estate for 10 years.
Okay.
And I started back when the company that I was working for had told me that they were closing down.
Okay.
And so they gave me a 6 months notice, right? And so during that time period, my husband had started a home inspection company, and I had seen him over the last couple of years just really like start this company and just like you blossom and grow. And he was like this really quiet guy that like all of a sudden was like this like, you know, sexy guy that was like owning this business and stuff. So I was like, man, I want to do that too, you know? So when they gave me that 6 months notice, I was like, I want to start my own business. And my husband was like, why don't you just come work for me? And I was like, no. And so I was like, okay. He was like, well, why don't you get into the real estate industry? Because essentially that's what we were doing. He was doing home inspections. And so we started looking into wholesaling and rehabbing, and we went and we got into one of these kind of educational programs where they taught us how to do all that.
Right.
And that's what we did is, I mean, over the course of that 6 months, I just educated myself on how to do wholesaling and rehabbing. And then when they closed the company down, they had also given me a 6 month severance,
Okay.
right, which was really nice. So,
Right.
so then I had another 6 months to really just kind of start like marketing, start building up the foundations of the business, start looking for deals. And and then that's really how it started. It's just really building that foundation up. I'm a big proponent of like just building the basic blocks of your business. So that's what I focused on. And then over the course of the next couple of years, I just started doing a lot of rehabs.
Okay.
Really. That's it, yeah.
So, and I want to go back. So you said you were leaving a company, so there was a little bit of overlap with you starting real estate and still working.
Yes.
Which I think is huge because
Yes.
a lot of people, you know, you and I both talk to people who are still working and they're overwhelmed, they're educating themselves, they're on every webinar, and they're just feeling stuck between actually taking action. So what did that action look like for you? If you're working 9 to 5 and you're ready, you're feeling that urgency to leave your job, what was like step one? What did you do to get outside of just watching the videos?
Well, like I said, I'm a huge proponent of like building the basic foundation of the business. So that's what I did. Like I didn't have any expectations because I didn't really know what I was doing anyways.
Right.
So what I did was like I sat and really I put a marketing plan together. I put a business plan together, and I really kind of just visualized how I wanted my company to become. And then I created these steps on how to get there. And that's kind of what I did. So I didn't just aimlessly. I'm just not that type of person. I don't aimlessly just do whatever and not have any structure to what I do.
Right.
If anybody knows me, they know I'm very organized and systematized.
Very
right?
organized.
So even in my life, I do this. Even in my life, I'm very organized and structured. So that's what I did is I literally created like a marketing plan and a business plan and said, okay, like over the course of the next year, this is what my business is going to look like.
Okay.
And then even like in my marketing plan, I started with direct mail marketing.
Right.
And it wasn't just like I just picked whatever list and just mailed out to it. I mean, I literally had like a marketing plan where it was like how many letters per week am I going to be sending out? What's my budget? You know, okay, I'm gonna do the first couple of letters myself and like kind of just figure it all out. But then after doing that a couple of times, I don't want to do that myself. So how can I build up and get that to where somebody else can do that for me, or I can hire a company to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic advice. So you slowed things down. So I'm guilty of like going too fast, right? I'm just like jump out there, throw my letters in the mail or whatever. But I've really learned from you, first of all, what a marketing campaign is, right? And so that's something we always talk about in the workshop, because I think a lot of people they want to do, so they're worried about the what and not the how.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so that's what I love about you, because you'll break it down like, okay, this is what your documents, you actually have an Excel, you have all of this stuff organized. And once I started kind of learning from you, I was like, wow, this is a really detailed process. And in fact, I remember hearing from you once, you take one day a week to look at your business, right?
Yes.
That was a gem that I've literally kept like in my personal business. Like we have to stop at some point and assess what we're doing.
Yes.
Love that you say that.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
you don't want to be putting out fires all the time.
Right.
Essentially, right? You want to be working on your business. Yeah.
Right.
So you gotta allot that time. And I do that for me personally. I do that in the middle of the night. Right, so a lot of people say like I'm getting emails at like 2:00 in the morning from you and stuff. That's because like that's my time, because I have a 3-year-old daughter, right? So like when she goes to bed, I'm like, okay, now I can work, and I work on my business a lot. And then during the day, it is hard because you're always putting out fires.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Phones
so
ringing.
like phones ringing, and you're answering all these emails, and all this stuff comes up. So, but you have to just make sure whatever your time frame is. So if you're working a full-time job right now, you might have to work in the middle of the night. Right. And I kind of consider what I'm doing working like full-time job, and I take care of all the companies that I have, and then I work on my business at night when I have that quiet time to myself.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So time blocking sounds important, right? So whether you're middle of the night, early in the morning, we just talked about that, the 5 a.m. crew, 5 to 9, look at your life. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any books that you were reading? Any favorites that you recommend?
Back in the day when I first started, it was E-Myth.
Okay.
Right, so that was the big one, and that's actually the one that was recommended to my husband and I, because my husband had the home inspection company, and his mentor was saying like you need to systematize your business so much that later down the road, if you decide to sell it, somebody will want to buy it from you, right?
Okay.
Because that's the types of businesses that people want to buy, are the ones that are just like they can hand it over and then just start working, right? Kind of a thing, and that's really honestly what happened with Pete.
Okay.
And so somebody came in and he offered to buy it just as long as everything was so organized, and Pete could literally just hand it over, and that's the way that I wanted to be too.
Okay.
So organized. So E-Myth is one of the books that in the very beginning, that's what I listened to. I mean, I do audio anyways, but that's what I listened to, and then let's see what else. And then also with E-Myth, they also have it's Michael Gerber is the author. They actually have an investor book as well too. So E-Myth Investing is how you can break everything down and structure that out as well too. So as investors, I highly recommend that you read that as well too, so that you can get that because some people say like I personally I'm the type of person that I can systematize very easily. That's just how my mind is, but most people are not like this, right? So that book really breaks down like, okay, your marketing, how can you break that down into chunks, and how can you systematize that? So that's the kind of book that you should read, yeah.
I like that. Okay. So cool. So, all right. So we've talked about, getting started, making that transition from work to actually taking action, and then eventually being full-time in real estate, right?
Yes.
So what did, I guess that first year look like? Okay, so now we're marketing. What kind of marketing were you doing? So you said direct mail, any particular list that you really executed on?
Well, this was 10 years ago, so direct mail was kind of what you did, right? That's what you did, yeah. So I just bought, like, I was one of the ones that just bought like a list and then just structured it out. Actually, what I did was the first time that I sent the list out, I did it myself. It was like 500 letters, and I did like all myself and folded them and everything and stuff. And then after that, I was like, I'm never doing that again.
You got to do it at least once, though.
Got to do the once. And so then after that, what I did is I put an ad in the paper. Not an ad in the paper. Nobody does that anymore. Put an ad in Craigslist, and then I asked for like somebody that wanted to just do that for me, to do all my letters. And this was back when even like, you know, mail houses, like there was no mail houses around or anything. Like this is back in the day, because this is like right in the upturn, right? This is right when the downturn was coming up. So like everybody was just trying to get back on their feet and stuff again, you know. So a lot of the stuff that we have now like just wasn't around because it all just like flopped, right? So I ended up hiring somebody that lived right around the corner from me, and it was a stay-at-home mom, and like our goal was just 200 letters a week, and that's what she did, and I would pay her $1 a letter. If I'd pay her 50 cents a letter, and then plus the stamp and you know all the postage and stuff, so it came out to about $1 a letter is what it comes out to mail it out. That's what it comes out to. And so she handled all that for me, and she would handwrite all the letters, handwrite all the envelopes, and she would just send out 200 letters every single week, and she worked for me for like 5 years. Yeah, and that's what she did. And so I never ever moved to a mail house and used a mail house because I just had her, and then she she expected that money every single week. That was like her little, like her mom money, you know. So she did that while the kids were at school. She would just sit there and write letters for me, and probably, you know, like watch like soap operas or whatever they do. I don't know.
I love that. Okay.
You know? And so that's what we did. That's what I did, and that's what I did. And it was all about, honestly, with the marketing, and we talk about this a lot, is all about just like consistency.
Yes.
Right? So I just knew every month that every week that Katie was going to send out 200 letters for me. And that's it. So I didn't even have to think about that anymore. I didn't have to think about that. And just as long as, you know, she had like a list, and just as long as I was sending her the supplies every single month, and I mean every month or something like that, then she would be fine.
I love that.
Yeah.
Just delegate the task, right? Because you're getting busy, and then so I think at some point we have to look at our consistency. Like if you feel like as a person you're not doing it every week, it's time, right? Because people, I think that question comes up a lot. Like, when do you know you're ready to hire a VA? You're ready to hire an assistant? Will my budget, you know, can I budget for this? So I love that. Okay, so cool. So all right, so going back to listing, so you had her using a list. I know we talk a lot about probates, right?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts, and what has been your experience working probate lists?
On the probate list, I love probate.
I do
Probate's
too.
the best. What it does, probate is like putting stuff in your pipeline.
Yes.
That's what it is, right? So essentially you're just, you can't close on a probate deal like immediately. But you have to work it. It's all about just rapport, and it's just, and what you do, and what I love about probate is that you just hand that over to the attorney, and they do all the work.
Yeah.
And essentially all you do is put it under contract, and then you hand it to the attorney, and then after that they'll just call you in like 3 or 4 months and be like, all right, it's ready to go. You know, and I always tell my attorneys, I always just say, like, give me like a month in advance. Like you say, okay, we're going to be closing, I can tell in the next couple of weeks or so, and then that gives me enough time to just put my money together.
Right.
Right. That's kind of how I work probate and like short sales. Those are the two ways that I do that. And but probate's the best. I mean, I'm telling you, on probate, I've made the most money that I've ever made on any deal, either on short sale or probate.
I love it.
That's it, yeah.
So, okay, so let's go. So you mentioned building your pipeline. Let's, you know, kind of iron that out a little bit, because I hear that, like, folks get their list and they're like, okay, they want to close real fast, and they're not understanding the timeline. So it's been my experience, this could take a few months. So what were you doing to make sure that seller, let's say you don't initially get the contract. So what did that look like for you? You're working a probate and that person's like, still going through the court process. what were your steps in that, or what would you say in that situation?
Like, just to be in contact with them? I mean, that's it, essentially. I mean, you have to, even with the seller, in any type of any type of position, you always need to be in contact with the seller, right?
Okay.
So you're either like touching base like per email and saying, hey, I'm just checking it. What I do a lot of the times is I just do like an email, like a group email with the attorney, me and the attorney and the seller.
Okay.
And it's always just kind of like, hey, I'm just checking. Hey, Beth, I'm just checking in to see like what's going on with the deal. How's the probate? How's probate going and all this? And she'll be like, okay, it's still going through and everything.
Right.
And that kind of touches base with the seller as well too.
Okay.
And so then that way the seller will always just kind of be like, notified on anything that comes up stuff. So I kind of do like a group email with my attorney. I like to always add my attorney into my emails because it kind of gives it a little bit more oomph, like more
that.
security. Yeah.
Okay. That's a great tip. So you're capturing an email in those first conversations so you can keep in contact.
Yes.
I don't know if a lot of people are even thinking to do that. They're just relying on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's cool. And then I like that you're incorporating an attorney, giving you credibility.
Yes.
Hey, I have an attorney too, because sometimes in probate cases, they have an attorney. They're either by themselves and they're a little bit nervous about the transaction, or they may have an attorney who's got an opinion about everything, right? So now everybody's included. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and if they have their own attorney, then we'll just use that. I mean,
Right.
essentially what you do with the seller is you always just want to make them feel as comfortable as possible.
Right.
So if they're like, no, I want to use my attorney, then you're like, okay, fine, we'll use their attorney. It's like not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So then we'll just use them, and then I'll just email them and incorporate, the seller into that email as well. So I don't really have to have an attorney represent me, because essentially you're not, in the state of Georgia at least, you're not represented by attorney. Only the lenders are represented by attorneys. Or if you're going through probate, but I'm not represented. The
Right.
buyer's not represented, So it's like, why spend money like doing that, But so if they want to use their own attorney, then I let them use that. Otherwise, I have an attorney that I've closed 100 transactions with, so I just use them.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like it. Okay. So cool. So now you've built this credibility with the seller. Are there any, so you mentioned short sales. So were you doing like pre-foreclosures as well in your
I'll do
initial? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me
Whatever comes across my plate, I'll take it if it's a good deal.
Okay. Okay. So what other favorite lists would you say? So we did probate, which I love probate too. So pre-foreclosures we just mentioned.
Yeah,
Any
I
other ones you
like. It's called distressed property list.
Okay.
That's what I call it.
Okay.
So essentially, that's like pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, short sale, subject to evictions or probate.
Okay.
Something like that. So like it's distressed. Like there's some issues going on right now, right? So
Right.
that's kind of the list that I like, because then now that's like an advanced list.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to be able to like work fast on
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I always tell new students, I say, there's the motivated and the unmotivated, right? So the motivated is like the distressed property. Like they have an issue and they need help right now, and like their house is going to be foreclosed on in the next couple of weeks. So like you got to work fast, right? So you kind of have to know what you're doing, right? Whereas like on the unmotivated, which would be, like absentee owners or landlords or something like this, like something that's just like not free and clear, these kinds of properties where they're just like, give me a good deal and I'll sell your house to you. I'll sell the house to you. So those are unmotivated sellers.
Right.
And those you just like, all those are is just building relationships. Right. So you really want to start kind of with an unmotivated, because then you can like practice, talking to them, figuring out what their needs are. How can I help you? Building rapport, learning how to negotiate, learning your negotiation skills. There's no stress. There's no, I like that. I really like those because there really is no stress. Right. And then the distressed is where it's like it's stressed. Right. So you have to like be on your feet. You have to solve their problem. Right. So that's like more advanced. So I start my students off anyways with an unmotivated list is what I try to do, and then I get them to work on later. They can work on the distressed properties and stuff like that.
Okay. And then just for folks that are like brand new, I know you mentioned talking to like landlords. So why would I work an eviction list? Like if I'm brand new, what do you feel like has been your experience working evictions? Someone who's just filed, what was that like for you?
Evictions are like, as I said, it's a distressed list. So you need to solve their problem. You need to solve the landlord's problem, essentially. I love working with evictions because they need a problem that needs to be solved.
Right.
So just as long as you have a solution for them, or in my case, what I usually do is like 3 or 4 or 5 different solutions, right? Which we talk about creative deal structuring.
Right.
So you want to have like a lot of different solutions for them, so then they can pick and choose and be like, wow. So that's kind of what I do, is I handle, like, if somebody comes to me and has a problem, I'm like, okay, well, we can pay cash, or we can do this, or this. Like, here's your 5 solutions to this problem.
Right. That is amazing. Yeah, I learned that from you. And I think that is, the seller's going to look at it differently. They're going to feel inclined to choose one of your 5 options, right?
Yeah.
Versus folks that are showing up with just that one option and then walking out the door. You're like, what do you need? What's best for you?
Yeah, let's solve your problem.
And then you're also talking to your peer, right? If you're talking to a landlord, because you've done it, you're in the industry. So you have credibility as well,
yes,
right?
That's
and
true.
you understand their frustration.
Yes.
So I love that. Okay. So you eventually, now you are full-time real estate at this stage in your life, right? And picked up major, right? You were doing like a gazillion rehabs a year.
Yeah.
A gazillion.
I did a lot of rehab for a long time, but not anymore.
Okay.
I took a little break.
So what you up to now?
Well, so now I'm a mom.
Okay.
That's the most important thing.
Which is a blessing. Yes.
And so now my life is based on, like, what she needs. And what she needs right now is for me to be in her life.
Right.
Right. So as a wholesaler and a rehabber, you basically are taking on a business, and you're running a business, and it's like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. You gotta grind, right? Everybody's out there, they want to grind. Like, grinding is awesome or whatever. So after like 10 years of grinding, I'm like, I don't want to do grinding anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Need
So
a break.
I'm done. Yeah, so now I focus on passive income. That's what I focus on, and I focus on real estate is one of the ways that I make passive income. But I have passive income in all different kinds of ways. Right. That's the thing, So, and I focus on. I'll buy on the commercial side. I'll buy storage facilities. So that's one of the main things that we do. But we're looking at like any small commercial thing. So any small office buildings or. Any type of any storage facilities or anything that comes across. I don't know. We'll just take a look and see. Okay. Maybe even I'm not going to do anything with houses right now because I need a break from houses.
Right.
But other than that, it's probably more on the commercial side is what we're going to be focusing on.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Because I really like on the commercial side. I just really like the value add, and I like how much money you can make on the commercial side. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the part I was waiting for, because you're not just doing commercial, you're the storage facility queen, in my opinion, right?
Maybe in Georgia. Not in the world.
Okay. In our neighborhood.
In our neighborhood, exactly. On the block.
Right.
The storage facility queen on the block.
Right. Add that to your profile.
Exactly.
All right, you guys heard it here first. All right, so cool. So let's talk about that. So one, how did you get into storage facilities? Because I pass them all the time, and I wouldn't think this is going to be a great transaction. I wouldn't even think about that. So when did you have a moment like, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. So like I said, I became a mom, and at the time that I became a mom, I was doing like somewhere between 15 and 20 rehabs. Like at that time, at one time, like 15 to 20 rehabs. And if anybody knows, if you're even doing 1 or 2 or 3 rehabs, you're like driving yourself insane, right? So then quadruple that or whatever, and then you have like all these rehabs that you're working. And so what happened was I got pregnant, and when I got pregnant, I was like, I need to work as fast as I can to like finish all these rehabs or whatever, and I was driving myself crazy because I knew I wanted to just be with Lillian when she was born. So I had to really I really wanted to structure my life around her. And so what my husband and I decided was instead of working and not have any time to spend with her, like why not take advantage of what the real estate industry offers, right? Which is like how to create your business around the lifestyle that you want.
Right.
And so my husband and I really started talking about that, and so around 2017 we decided to start looking for passive income, and I talked to my my realtor.
Okay.
And he's the same realtor that I've used for 10 years. So he found all my houses pretty much, and so then I said, now I just want to start looking for passive income. So I don't care if it's like apartment buildings, or if it's whatever, storage or quads or whatever it is. I want passive income, but I want it on like a bigger scale. I don't want to just do like one house at a time, because you know me, I like to do like a lot.
Right.
And so then he came across a storage facility that was only about maybe 20 minutes away from where I lived. And I was like, oh, that's cool, because like then I wouldn't have to drive around, a long way or anything like that. So I said, okay, I'll go take a look. And so I went over, and it was in Fayetteville. I live in Peachtree City. I lived at that time in Peachtree City, Georgia, and it was in Fayetteville. Okay. And so I drove over and took a look, and it was Big John Storage. Yeah, Big John. And so then I met Big John. It was a little tiny guy. I said, John, it was an older guy in his 80s, and he was just like, I said, why are you selling this thing? He said, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. He built it in like 1980, and it's now like 2015, or 2017. He's like, I've just had it for like a ridiculous amount of I'm just tired of it. And I said, okay, well, the reason, and it had been on the market for 5 years.
Wow.
And nobody had bought it. And I told him, I said, the reason that nobody wants to buy the storage facility is because it's a dump. That's why it's a dump. Like, nobody wants to buy a dump, and you're not running it properly. Basically, it was 100% full, but only 25% of what he of the people that were there were paying. Right. So you know what I'm saying? So he just wasn't managing it properly, and so I was just like, nobody wants to buy this, because first of all, and then I asked him, I said, how can I see your numbers? I need to see like rent roll, P&L, and he was just like, oh yeah, he's like, and he pulled out this like ledger. Right, he pulled out a ledger, and it was like a little ledger that he was like keeping track of everything. Like, he wasn't even on the computer. Oh my gosh. And so I told him, I said, you can't. I was like, nobody's gonna buy this place. Like, nobody's gonna buy this. Like, no bank can finance this because of the way that you're running it. Right. So if you had like systems and a P&L and a rent roll, and everything was organized, and the place wasn't so dumpy, and it was run properly, like, you'd be able to get what you were asking for, which was like $500,000. Right. Because it was actually worth $500,000 now that it's full. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, nobody is going to pay that, Yeah. So I said, this is my offer. I said, the reason why I'm offering this at such a low price is because nobody is going to finance this except for a private lender. A private lender would be okay with this. Right. But the only thing with private lenders is that you have to pay like double the price interest. Right. So that's what I did, was I gave him an offer at $200,000, and he had it on the market at $500,000. Wow. And he just like looked at me like, I'm not going to take $200,000. And I was like, well, that's my offer. And he said, well, what? He said, okay. He thought about it for a little while, and he said, okay, what about $250,000? So I literally got it, and it's worth between $500,000 and $600,000 now. Wow. So I literally got it at like 50 cents on the dollar. Wow. Right? Now, because over the past 3 years, we've cleaned it up, we've fixed it up, we've gotten it all, it's 100% full. There's actually a waiting list now. Wow. And so not only do we get, and that's another thing, is that like our mortgage is like around $2,000 a month, plus some taxes and insurance, and storage facilities have like no bills. Wow. Like hardly any bills at all, nothing. There's no electricity. Now, I'm not talking about the big box office, like big nice ones. I'm talking about the little mom and pop ones or whatever, So this one has like around 120 spaces. So okay. So he was making like $2,500 a month, and when he told me that, I was like, well, that will at least pay for the mortgage and to run it and stuff. I can live off of that at least for a year, so I just break even. And that's what we did. For the first year, we broke even, and we cleaned the place up. We got it looking really nice, and then we got it filled up. And so now, it's making like $5,000-$6,000 a month. So not only am I only making like $2,500 a month, I'm also I added a value of $250,000 to it. Right. So that's the one thing about commercial that I love, is that you get that passive income. You have to make sure that you break even, or you can pay the bills for the first year. But then after that, you get a chunk of change that you get every single month, and then you get the value add at the end when you want to sell it. And that's the sweet spot.
I love it. So, but we're not at your storage facility right now. So. That's amazing. So you're telling me cash flow $5,000-$6,000 a month, and you're not even there right now?
Yeah, no, it doesn't take any work to run it.
Wow.
Yeah, because once you clean it, that's the one thing about storage facilities too, is like once you clean it up, I mean, we have 6 facilities now, and I mean, we get, you saw this morning, we've gotten 1 call this morning.
Wow.
We'll probably get, with like 6 facilities, we'll probably get like maybe 3 to 5 calls a day.
Wow.
That's it.
That's
Now, the only
amazing.
thing about storage facilities that kind of sucks is that you just don't know when they're going to call.
Right.
Right, so they call anywhere from like, 8 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Right, so then you just have to be kind of ready. But once you get to 3, 4, 5, 6, you have enough money to hire an office manager if you
Right.
want. Otherwise, if this wants to be your life dream, and you could just like run storage facilities. I have like I have like 3 or 4 other companies, so we can't do that.
Right.
But you could do that if you wanted, just like run your storage facilities and that's it. But yeah,
Wow.
very, very easy to run. Yes.
Well, I'm interested. That sounds amazing. So listen, so if someone wants to hear more about this, right? Because I'm sure anybody that hears this is gonna be like, what in the world? Why didn't I know about this, right? So is there a way to like learn from you, to like ask you questions?
That's my goal, is to teach as many people as I can, not only about real estate investing, but storage facilities and rehabbing. So you can go to stacyrossetti.com.
Okay.
That's my new website, and it's a work in progress. But then you can if you click on Super Secret Investor Society, essentially all of my masterminds are underneath that.
Okay.
Right. So you can find my rehabbing mastermind, my beginner investor mastermind, and then the storage facility mastermind. So there's 3
Fantastic.
masterminds that we're doing. So if anybody wants to learn about that. And the masterminds are also virtual. Okay. So anybody in the United States, anybody can learn about any of those 3 topics. Okay. And then the goal is to just help as many people as they can get that first deal. No matter what the deal is, I'm going to help you to get that first deal.
I love it. And that's one thing that I really, really love about you. I tell you thank you all the time, probably every time I see you, because you're so genuine about wanting everyone to win, whether it's just in business or in real estate. That's fantastic. So you have done something amazing in Atlanta. So I want to talk about South Atlanta RIA.
I was like, uh-oh, what did I do?
What did I do now? South Atlanta RIA.
Okay,
oh my
South
gosh.
Atlanta.
Everyone knows I heart South Atlanta RIA, right?
Yes.
So when do you, so you just wake up and you're like, I'm going to start a RIA today. Like, tell me about that moment.
Okay, so a RIA, so if anybody doesn't know, a RIA is a Real Estate Investors Association. And anybody anywhere in the United States, you can go and just search RIA in your city. So Atlanta RIA, you can search like Tennessee RIA or Knoxville or whatever you want to do. And so everybody, in every city there's a RIA. And a RIA essentially is just like a networking community. It's an education and networking community where you're able to learn how to invest in real estate, and then meet other people that are just in the same mindset that you are. So it's a group of like-minded people, and we just build this community, all of us together. Yes. And then my job is, I'm the owner of the South Atlanta RIA, but essentially my job is just a facilitator. That's what I am. I'm a facilitator. So I go around and try to find the best speakers, the best teachers. I've created what we call super groups, or subgroups, which are basically smaller niche related groups that you can learn specific topics on. So for instance, like Deonna does creative deal structuring for the South Atlanta RIA, or creative deals 101 is what it's called. And then we have like a land group, and we have like a vacation and short-term rental group, wholesaling, rehabbing, and basically anything that you can think of. And usually the smaller groups have anywhere from like maybe 10 to like 30 or 40 people showing up, right? And then the main meeting, we meet once a month, the main meeting, and that's where we have like a national speaker come in and talk, and then they'll teach on all different types of topics. And that meeting for us is on the first Wednesday of every month. So you can go to southatlantaria.com, and you can find all this out on the events page. You can see the calendar. And then we do workshops and boot camps and
Yes.
online summits and just like whatever I can think of, I do basically. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Right. That is what's so awesome about you, because you're such a creative, so you can just kind of bring an idea and say, it's like, yeah, let's try it, right? So there seems to be something going on like every single week, like, right? It doesn't even seem, it's a fact.
There's there's at least
week.
2 or 3 things going
Yes.
on every single week. We
Yes.
have like 20 meetings every single month.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive, and that's so much. And then I told you one of my favorite features is the Ask Me Anything, right?
Yes.
So every
yeah.
the Monday after the main meeting, you guys can log on and ask Stacy anything.
Yes, exactly. So that's like me just making myself available
Right.
to all my members.
Yeah,
Right. And then
that's
they can
fantastic.
get on and they can ask me whatever questions that they want. If you're stuck, you say, oh, like I can't analyze this deal, or, what is subject to actually, or, what should I do next? Just any type of deals. And it's actually like, they have like, some people just have like, actually everybody, there's like the best questions.
Yes.
And we just like talk, and then I
Love
just
it.
kind of like ramble off and just like do whatever. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
You're
me,
like,
that's
yes.
like my favorite thing. You can tell, guy, I'm on there like every time, right? Because I just adore Stacey. I love what you do. I'm so grateful for South Atlanta RIA, for you having that vision. You've created opportunities for me as a business owner, and then you challenged me to teach, right? So
Yes,
and
yes.
then facilitate. So
what I do.
I would recommend it for any vendor who is, thinking. We say vendor, but business owner. If you have a real estate related business, for sure, sign up, get involved, but not only sign up, as a business owner, but engage, like figure out what kind of value you can bring to South Atlanta RIA. And I like that you allow us to do that, right? And you challenge us. So, I love South Atlanta RIA.
Yeah, that's what she said. Like if you are interested in becoming a vendor of the South Atlanta RIA, basically you can go onto the website and check it as well too. But you can put yourself in front of like hundreds of people,
Yes.
not only like at the main meeting, but you can go to all the supergroup meetings, and then on top of that, you can also get like on the website, so you're marketed on the website as well too. We have so many different benefits, and then all of the vendors, you can either do webinars,
Yes.
workshops, you can teach. So I try to give you a lot of different opportunities to put yourself in front of everybody,
Yep.
just so you can grow your business.
Yes.
And I'm always open to other ideas. And every vendor is different. It's so funny, So like some people want to do webinars and workshops, and some people are just like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So and I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? So okay, let me sponsor lunches or whatever we
Right.
can do or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of different opportunities.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sitting with me. I've enjoyed you. I know anybody that watches this learned so much from you.
Yes,
This
thank you.
afternoon. But thank you so much. So the way everyone keeps in touch with you, you're on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, you can go to I think on Instagram it's Stacy Rossetti Teaches. It's
Okay.
either Stacy Rossetti or Stacy Rossetti Teaches.
Okay, I think
So-
you're Stacy.Rossetti.
Oh, Stacy.Rossetti. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I got a team that manages all that.
I'm pretty sure. At least that's who I'm following. Hopefully that's you. There's
That's
a
me.
picture of you.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, and I think my YouTube page is Stacy Rossetti Teaches.
Okay.
I think is what it is.
All right.
Because Stacy Rossetti wasn't available, so I had to use Stacy Rossetti, which is cool. And also that's good. So,
Okay.
and then you can just search like in Facebook Stacy Rossetti, and I'm sure I'll come up.
Yes.
All right, and then Instagram as well too. I'm on Twitter as well.
Okay.
I'm on whatever Facebook. I'm everywhere. LinkedIn.
Well, good.
Whatever.
So we can find you.
Yes.
Okay, so cool. And then South Atlanta RIA is on Instagram as well, so if people want to see events
Yes.
and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I think that's at South ATL RIA. I think is what that one is. But so South Atlanta RIA, you can just go to southatlantaria.com. If you go to southatlantaria.com, there's the icons, and you can just click on that, and it will take you to the page. That's
Okay.
probably the easiest way.
Okay.
Right? Don't trust me on anything. And then if you go to stacyrossetti.com as well too, you can click on the social media icons, and it'll take you directly to all the pages as well too. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Fantastic. Okay, guys. So we'll make sure we link everything so that you can follow Stacy. And then, of course, if you have any questions about Law Clerk on Demand, you can follow Law Clerk on Demand on basically everything. And of course, if you have any questions, just reach out to either one of us. So thank you so much, Stacy.
Thank you very much. That was
All right.
awesome.